important year for high school students. It is their final year of high school, which means the start of the real world and of college. Having said that, it is a very stressful year. This consists of figuring out what you want to do when you grow up, where you want to go to school, and more. Thankfully for seniors, they have the senior final exemption, which will help lower their stress level. But it has now come up that those stress reducers are being taken away, which means students' stress levels will be in an ultimate high. With senior year and finals for AP students, that is too much stress to put on an individual. We wanted to see the difference between how a student will react in a normal class versus an AP class, so we decided to ask our friend.
Hi, I'm Julia Rice, and I'm a junior at McHenry West Campus. Yeah, I feel like the pace we go at's slower, so it's really easy to just get everything when it's taught to you, and the homework assignments aren't as challenging, so. Work that comes with it, like with the documentary we have, there's a lot of timed writes, a lot of papers, a lot of it all at once. So just trying to balance everything and work on everything and time management, that can be really difficult, especially with like such a large workload.
Due to the amount of finals, students lose a large amount of sleep. This graph shows the amount of sleep a student loses because of taking exams. This is data collected from Wilmington High School on sleep deprivation of students before an exam. As you can see, the amount of sleep and material about the exam a student absorbs goes down as the exam gets closer, while studying or thinking about studying skyrocket between the last 3 days before the exam.
Many of you are aware of what Diet Coke does when it comes into contact with Mentos. Let's say that the Diet Coke is you and the Mentos are the final exams. The reaction is your stress level because of all the exams. Don't be like Coke and Mentos. Let seniors have final exemptions.
With mainly focusing on the students for senior final exemptions, we wanted to realize how it affects teachers as well, so we went to the source with Mr. Levon.
I think that's too much. I think that's too much stress. In my corner of the AP world, the AP Bio exam, the official AP Bio exam, should be a final exam. I mean, it's a culmination of everything you've done throughout the year. So students who do take my exam, I exempt them from the final. I don't have them take a final because I think they've already proven that they can prepare for a test. I think that is good. I know that I know the purpose of senior first semester exemptions is to have people do well on the ACT and the PSAE, but I think that we need to prepare you guys better for college, and I think preparing for a final exam, because I know a lot of people, their grades are made or broke on the final exam. I mean, we see that a lot. I've always held the belief that if a student in my class had an A throughout the entire year, I think having them take a final is a waste of their time. I think that they've already proven that they can understand the material and they can regurgitate it on a test. And I think that for them to take a cumulative final, I don't think it would be necessary. But they would have to show a certain level of excellence in the class. And I know we've talked in the past with the school and the board and administration, everybody talking about changing the grading scale too. So I mean, we still have the classic, 190, scale.
A few weeks before final exams, teachers start handing out the review packets. These consist of many study questions that need to be answered before the test. Although these final packets are passed out a week before finals, it can be very hard to complete them all when a student is already trying to keep up with their regular homework in the class. This increase in homework can lead to the loss of sleep and more stress. With the lack of sleep, students are not able to focus and maximize his or her time effectively, resulting in more homework that needs to be done. The students are under a lot of stress during this time. If the final review packets were taken away, the workload would be significantly less for the student. We wanted to learn more about the final exemptions, so we went straight to the source. Mr. Valianatos is in charge of the exemptions, so we decided to ask him a few questions.
Well, first of all, my name is Carl Valianatos, Director of Curriculum Instruction for the district, and my job really is to oversee basically everything that's teaching and learning. So senior final exemptions has a big part of that. When I was an assistant principal for many years, 9 years, I was part of the handbook committee, and so I also kind of oversaw and knew about the committees and the history of how they were developed. So both of the senior final exemptions have been around probably a long time, 6 to 10 years. So they're not new, and obviously we're looking at changing or eliminating some of that. But now it's starting to come up, do we even really need it anymore? And I think every now and again, I think it's important for any policy or program to ask that question, because the worst reason to continue to do something is because we always have. Every now and again you have to make that analysis, and is it good for kids, is it good for our system? Also, as we talked before, that now with drastic changes in assessments, nationally with standardized testing, but also with all the growth assessments and the way teachers are looking at crafting their classes, doesn't make sense now. So those are probably the biggest reasons why it's coming up. That there will be no first semester senior final exemptions next year. And one of the main reasons is because there was so much uncertainty as to exactly what tests the juniors were going to be taking this year. We know now that we're going to take the ACT. There's not going to be any PARCC for juniors, which is a really good thing. So the juniors can focus on their college entrance exam and AP tests if you happen to be an AP student. So that's a good thing. A feeling that there's some value to the second semester senior final exams, but we have not made a decision on that yet. Honestly, I think it might be cleaner to just say we're just not going to do senior final exemption anymore, as opposed to eliminate first semester but keep second semester. And so we created this and basically said, hey, if you're in school and you're doing one of your classes and you're not tardy, you're not getting in trouble, all those things that second semester is, then you can be released from all your final. First semester is a totally different conversation. That was created probably 9 or 10 years ago now, 8 or 9 years ago, and that was totally about motivating the kids in the junior year to do well on the PSAE. It makes sense that you're working so hard for that AP exam, and it's stressful, and you take that AP exam and you do well on that AP exam, and then you walk in, okay, let's get ready for the final.
After our interview with Mr. Valianatos, he sent us the results of a survey that teachers had to take in order to see their opinion on the senior final exemptions. As you can see, this chart shows the opinions the teachers have on whether or not senior final exemptions have an impact on their growth assessment. 13% of the teachers said that a growth assessment has to do a lot with the finals, and it would affect them. 17% said it would affect them a little, but not a lot. And 69% of them said that it would not affect them at all. This chart contradicts with the Board of Education, saying that finals and growth assessments go hand in hand, when in reality, for teachers, they do not.
That there really isn't going to be a first semester next year. A, because there's no need for one, and B, there's no PSA or PARCC test that our juniors are going to be taking. So it's kind of a moot point. So the question really is about second semester, and we haven't answered that one yet.